What's up everyone, I'm CallumOnToast, and in today's video I'm going to be showcasing some very entertaining battles in the Great League Catch Cup, featuring a triple shadow team with Groudon, Darmanitan and Pidgeot. Now I want to start by saying that I'm not even at the 2200 ELO range right now, and these are all the Pokemon that I've built this season. Well, Pokemon that I've caught and built this season, because obviously I've built a crazy amount of things this season. In fact, in my live stream alone the other day, I probably built 10 plus Pokemon just for the Animal Roulette Challenge, but unfortunately all of those were caught before this season. So yeah, as you can see, it's pretty unlikely that I'm going to be gaining much ELO in this meta, which means it's all going to come down to next week. And I'll be honest, the last time I hit Legend in one of the 3 main open leagues was all the way back in August of 2021. And since then, I think I've hit Legend most seasons, but it's always been in some sort of cup, and we've had 2 straight weeks of Great League Remix, which was a cup where if I wanted to push for Legend whilst maintaining a reasonable level of spice, I probably could have done. I mean, I gained 900 ELO during the Go Battle weekend alone, but then the horrible game state right now with all the stutter lag, plus the fact that I had 4 Battle of Spice videos to make, which is incredibly time consuming by the way, meant that I hardly battled, and when I did, since most of the top meta were banned, I went even riskier with my nonsense teams, running a triple deer theme team, the Spicy XL Roulette Challenge, the most attack weighted team possible, and of course my recent Animal Roulette livestream. So I lost pretty much all of that ELO in the space of just a few days. So yeah, unfortunately hitting Legend isn't going to be happening this season for me, but that's okay. My primary goal is having fun and producing entertaining and unique content that you're not going to see anywhere else on YouTube, and I think I've achieved those things this season. So with that being said, let's just get into the question of the day. Now this isn't really a question, it's more of a request, but I figured since I don't really have many Pokemon built for the Catch Cup, I can probably make 2 more videos in this rotation at the very most. So what I'll try to do instead is a few more live streams this week battling against my subscribers, but I'm also someone that usually stays well clear of any controversy within the Go Battle League and Pokemon Go in general, but I want to do something completely different for a video. So I want you guys to give me any controversial topics that are specifically GBL or Pokemon Go related, and I'll give my opinion on those topics. Now this was inspired by a recent Dan Ottawa video where he talks about Legend players giving out or not giving out free wins towards the end of the season, and I thought about typing out a long-winded comment about my opinion, but then I was just like, nah, I could just make a video about it and also address a bunch of other controversial topics. So let me know in the comments what you want me to talk about, and with that being said, let's get into the battles now. Alright, so heading into the first battle is Shadow Groudon into Shadow Galvantula. An amazing lead matchup. They're going to say swap into Mandibuzz, and unfortunately I don't have the best response. Of course, we got Rock Slide for coverage, but behind on energy, it's not going to be that helpful here. The opponent full sends the Dark Pulse. Honestly, they could probably get away with just going straight Aerial Ace here, as Darmanitan is incredibly glassy, but we grab a shield there. At this point, I'm just going to double shield, and even if they do outpace me to the next charge move, which they should, the Incinerate damage has already got them deep into the yellow health range. We go for Rock Slide, number 2, grabbing that final shield, and the opponent underestimates the energy generation, so we make it to a 3rd Rock Slide, taking out the Mandibuzz. I'm able to maintain alignment as they come in with a Clodsire. Obviously, they can't come in with Galvantula, but they commit to a full farm down. Huge mistake as Overheat one-shots the bulky Clodsire. You can see I tried to swap back into Groudon. It didn't go through, but it doesn't matter. The opponent just going to concede the match, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to opponent there. Into next game, we see a Lickitung in the lead. So we don't have, well, I mean, we've got Pidgeot in the back, which is going to be very good up against Lickitung. The opponent just going to fire off a Body Slam straight away. So I'm going to no shield. We don't tank that super comfortably, but you can see it is a slightly under-leveled Lickitung. I'm full sending Precipice Blades here, and the opponent no shields. We one-shot the Lickitung, and yes, it was slightly under-leveled, but that's insane damage. We now go for a Fire Punch as they come in with Lucario. We can come in with our Darmanitan. Unfortunately, going to have to use a shield here, and even though it's just a power-up punch, you can see those few counters do get us very low. We're now going to go for a Rock Slide here, and if the opponent does use a shield, then we're going to swap, or actually either way we're going to swap anyways, as they let it go through, and at this point we're just going to play it safe. They could go for an Ice Beam. I'm going to use my shield. It is the Ice Beam. We can now commit to a full wing attack farm down, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to opponent there. Into next game, we see Shadow Groudon into Unova Stunfisk. So another very good lead matchup for the Groudon. They're going to swap into Groudon, and we're going to stay in initially, bank a little bit of energy, and I know, of course, Body Slam going to do some decent damage, but they're never going to be able to fully fast move farm me down. So at this point, going to no shield once again, and then I will fire off a Brave Bird here as late as possible, throwing just before they make it to the next Body Slam, and Brave Bird is going to get the one shot. We take them out there. They come back in with the Stunfisk. You can see they are running Thunder Shock rock, so they do get the farm down there, but we don't give them too much energy. And now we do have some residual energy on the Groudon. This is just giving me Mud Bomb, so I'm going to let it go through, and I'm just going to make sure they don't make a catch, but they catch a double resisted Precipice Blades onto Mandibuzz, and we even waited one turn, I believe, there. But I'm just like, I don't know if anyone else does this. I wait one turn just to make sure they don't make a catch, but then my reactions aren't really fast enough that if they do swap out, I can then just try and not throw the charge move there. So as a result, I end up throwing the charge move anyway, so not ideal, but they are going to go for another Aerial Ace. At this point, I don't think I'm going to be able to go for one extra Incinerate and then throw, so instead we go straight for the rock side. My only win condition is if the opponent disrespects the Darmanitan, but they're not going to. They're going to throw straight away. Mud Bomb gets the KO, and we can come in with our Groudon, but it doesn't matter. At this range, another Mud Bomb will certainly be enough to take out our Groudon, and unfortunately we do lose that game. But GG's to the opponent there. Into next game, we see Shadow Groudon into Carbink, so another very nice lead matchup for the Shadow Groudon. They swap into a Razor Leaf Arbaleaver, which is a very spicy, degenerate Pokemon, but kind of cool to see. Either way, we are now going to go for an Overheat, of course. Rock Slide is neutral, but Overheat, even resisted, does big damage. It does about 50% to that Carbink, and once again, yes, you can see it is a slightly under-leveled Carbink. I mean, I'm pretty low in my elo right now, so it makes sense. A lot of people just can't afford to build well, fully build an XL Carbink or an XL Lickitung just for the Catch Cup alone. So at this point, definitely going to shield, maintain alignment. Of course, I've got Pidgeot in the back. Hopefully, well, I was going to say hopefully it is another Razor Leaf user, but it ends up being another Groudon. So we're going to swap here, catch the charge move. Once again, I did stay in with my Groudon, bank a ton of energy here, and at this point, I'm just not going to bother shielding. We can let a second Body Slam go through, and like I've mentioned already, even if I go for a Brave Bird here and they shield, it doesn't matter, they will not be able to go for a full farm down, so we go for the Brave Bird, and at this point, I'm just going to no shield once again. We've got enough energy to outpace them to the next charge move with my Groudon. We're going to over farm here as Mudshot not doing much damage. Precipice Blades, of course, going to take out the Groudon, and we can make it to another Precipice Blades up against this Carbink, and from this range, from pretty much any range there, going to be taking out the Carbink, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to the opponent there. Into next, we see Groudon into Annihilate. So obviously, we've got a better matchup with our Pidgeot, but I'm just going to stay in initially, and you're going to see, unfortunately, we miss a Mud Shot as the opponent throws there because we get the stutter lag, so very frustrating. I will make it to back-to-back Fire Punches. I'm going to throw the first one, and then I think I'm just going to swap into my Pidgeot at that point. Nope, never mind. I'm going to swap into my Darmanitan, knowing we do resist the Ice Punch here. I'm going to shield though. They did farm up to a potential Shadow Ball, but they end up baiting, which is unfortunate. But either way, we can now go for Rock Slide. Rock Slide, gonna grab that final shield from the Mantine, but they do overfarm just slightly in this matchup before eventually throwing an Aerial Ace to get the KO. We can't come back in with the Groudon. Actually, they didn't overfarm at all there, so that means we come in with the Pidgeot, and we can CMP tie them as the opponent makes it to a potential Ice Beam. They could be running Water Pulse, but either way, Brave Bird gets the KO. They come in with the Dene here, and I'm just going to go for that Precipice Blaze straight away. No messing around. Precipice Blaze gets the one-shot. Very easy one-shot. They come back in with Annihilate, and I feel like I should be able to live an Ice Punch here. But it just depends if I can live the next counter, and the answer is no, I'm not able to do so. They barely hang on after living one more wing attack, and unfortunately we do lose that game. But GG to the opponent there. Into next game, the opponent going to safe swap into a double after leading with Heliolisk, and we're just going to shield here. They're going to go for a Body Slam. I'm going to go for a bait. I typically don't bait, but it's a pretty obvious shield right now. So we go for the Fire Punch, grabbing a shield, and then I'm going to swap, try to catch the Body Slam onto my Pidgeot. Of course, they could be running Wild Charge, which is why I didn't want to swap there straight away, as with a slight energy advantage, it's not going to be a good matchup. And even here, they're able to make it to a potential Wild Charge, and an Aerial Ace will not get the KO. But at this point, I'm happy to let Pidgeot go down. Wild Charge does get the KO, but now they debuff their defense. We can come in and take them out with just one Incinerate. So that's exactly what we go for, and the opponent is just going to concede the match there. I don't know what was in the back, but it doesn't really matter. I'm able to take that game. So GG's to the opponent there into the next battle, and for some reason the game decided, you know what? You've had a lot of good leads there, so I'm actually going to give you Pidgeot in the lead instead. I did actually initially think about swapping Pidgeot in the lead, but then I reverted back. And you know, sometimes when you change your team, but then you don't like fully back out, it will then just put the team that you initially had. Yeah, that's what happened there. So a bit unfortunate, because of course, if we just led with our Groudon once again, we'd be looking to be in a very comfortable position. But either way, gonna tank the mood. Skull does a lot more damage than I was expecting it to. I thought I'd have to shield the next move anyway, so I'm gonna do that. And the opponent here, I'm expecting they might swap and try to either make a catch or just force me to swap out, and they actually, this is quite smart, they're going to go for a cross poison, so that unfortunately means that they will make it to a lunge in just 2 more volt switches. So go for the fire punch straight away, and eventually with a little bit of lag here, we will be taking out the Galvantula, but they can come back in with the Whiscash. I'm going for the fire punch straight away, but unfortunately this is resisted damage. Fire punch doesn't quite get the KO, and they will make it to a Scald. Now this was a really smart play from the opponent, basically baiting my Groudon back out. I was thinking a loaded Pidgeot can beat pretty much anything other than a Registeel. There are a few other Pokemon, obviously, Carbik and Bastiodon, but either way, unfortunately, 2 Brave Birds from a Shadow Pidgeot are just nowhere near getting the KO. They can make it to a charge move, and unfortunately, Pidgeot will be going down to the Zap Cannon, and we do end up losing that game. But GG's to the opponent there. Internet's going to see Hitmontop in the lead, so not great for us, but I'm assuming we're going to win CMP here. So once again, I could bait, but I'm not really wanting to use any shields on my Groudon, so instead we full send the Press Blades there, we grab the shield, and at this point I will just let Groudon go down. They go for Triple Axle, boosting up their attack, which isn't ideal as these counters are really chunking, but now I can go straight for an Aerial Ace, just barely outpacing them to the charge move, and the opponent lets it go down. They swap into a Abomasnow, and they've got a Turtonator in the back, so they are double resisting the fire damage, but it doesn't matter, we've got Rock Slide for coverage. Rock Slide grabs the final shield, and at this point it's looking like it's going to be game over for the opponent. I'm just going to shield. I'm going to throw that Rock Slide straight away. I think this should be enough damage to get the KO, and I don't want to get too low where the Abomasnow can actually farm me down. So Rock Slide takes out Turtonator, and that Incinerate damage does like 60% of the Abomasnow's health. I'm able to take them out with just 2 Incinerates, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to the opponent there. Internet's going to see Registeel in the lead, so a very good lead matchup for us. The opponent safe swaps into Poliwrath, and I didn't realise this because I don't think I've used Pidgeot, well, yeah, it's pretty much the first time, well, the second time I've used Pidgeot ever, and we're going to go for an Aerial Ace here. I thought I'd win CMP. I figured, like, Poliwrath, one of the bulkier fighting types, but we actually end up losing CMP, so not ideal for us. I'm going to no shield. That does take us out, unfortunately. But we've got a little bit of residual energy on our Shadow Groudon, so I'm going to overfarm. I'm thinking Fire Punch should get the KO from this range, so I'm going to fire it off straight away. Fire Punch does grab that shield there. The opponent then swaps into a Gligar, so I'm firing off that second Fire Punch. I think they're 1 away from a charge move on their Poliwrath, so we come in with the Shadow Darmanitan, and I'm just going to shield once. I should be able to go for a full Incinerate farm down, and we're looking to be in a pretty comfortable position here. All I have to do is, if they come in with the Poliwrath, is throw the charge move, but I over-tap there, and that's just stupid. That shouldn't happen. Like, there's no reason for me to be tapping like a madman like I am there. Like, especially with an Incinerate user, you only have to tap once every 2.5 seconds. There's no reason for me to be spam tapping like that, and as a result, I end up losing the game because I just missed the charge move because I was tapping like an idiot. But GG's to the opponent there. Internet's game. The opponent led with, I think that was Dedenne. They're going to swap into a Bubble Poliwrath this time around, so should be slightly easier for me, as of course Bubble not going to do as much damage as the counters would, so I could probably actually just no shield the first move here. I will shield it anyways just to play it safe, and again I thought maybe it was an IV thing that I lost CMP, but it turns out it's not. Poliwrath does win CMP up against Pidgeot, so going to go for an Aerial Ace. Luckily I did just barely live that this time, and Aerial Ace also gets the KO. They come back in with the Dedenne. Of course, we did use all of our energy up against that Poliwrath, so they will make it to a charge move. I'm just going to shield, play it safe. The opponent goes for Parabolic Charge, which is a very bad charge move, by the way. They then get to swap into Poipole here, and I'm just going to farm to 100 energy, full sending the Precipice Blades, easily getting the one shot. And at this point, if they are running Play Rough, I'm going to swap, play it safe, swap into my Darmanitan, and it is a Play Rough, which is resisted damage. 2 Incinerates are just barely enough to get the KO, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to opponent there into the next battle. We see Shadow Groudon into Pidgeot. So not ideal for us. Of course, Fire Punch gonna hit for neutral damage, but Mud Shots and Precipice Blades gonna be resisted. At this point, there's no way they're full sending a Brave Bird. So I'm gonna no shield. We do just barely hang on, and I know, yes, Rock Slide is super effective, but Overheat still gonna do more damage, and so I full send it there. Of course, we were debuffed. I thought maybe they might not shield that, but they do shield. It's a Shadow Darmanitan. Either way, it doesn't matter. We don't get off an extra Incinerate anyway, so didn't make a difference that we debuffed our attack. But at this point, they are going to full send the Brave Bird, then going to swap into a second normal and flying type Pokemon. This time it's going to be Toucannon. We go for the Brave Bird straight away, one shot in the Toucannon, and now they come in with a Primeape. So this is the kind of spicier teams that you might expect to see in a Catch Cup. People just running whatever the heck they've built this season. But unfortunately, for the most part, this isn't how it is. Now I'm going to shield the opponent full sends a close combat, so now I can just go straight for a Fire Punch. Honestly, I was a little bit concerned that I'd have to full send a Precipice Blades, but that Fire Punch gets the KO. I'm able to outpace the Pidgeot to the next charge move, and Fire Punch from this range takes out the Pidgeot, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to the opponent there. Into next game we see Shadow Groudon into Registeel. So last time we did end up losing to the Registeel. This time they're going to swap into Annihilate. We're going to go straight for a Fire Punch here. Hopefully grab a shield and then just swap into Pidgeot. And we do grab that shield. We're going to swap, make the catch. This should just be a Night Slash as well, which is very nice. Night Slash not going to do anywhere near as much damage as a Ice Punch. At this point I'm going to go for the Aerial Ace. I go for an Undercharge here, hoping it just barely wouldn't KO. And then that way the opponent wouldn't get much farm on their Registeel. But unfortunately, we've got quite a lot of health remaining, and we've seen already 2 Brave Birds don't even get close to getting the KO here. So we go for the first one, the opponent no shields, and they're just going to bank a ton of energy, which is a very smart play, and come in with Altaria. And this is very concerning for me because unfortunately Altaria's damage with the Dragon Breath is going to be able to fully take us out before we even make it to 2 moves on my Darmanitan. So we're going for the Rock Side. I need them to no shield. And of course they are going to shield, and whilst yes, we've still got a very healthy Groudon, we've only got resisted or double resisted moves to throw, so I don't know if I'm even going to be able to take out the Altaria, let alone the Registeel in the back. Honestly, I need the opponent to try and swap out and somehow for me to be able to make a catch. So going to shield the second Sky Attack, and you can see our switch clock just barely isn't up yet, so very unfortunate. It meant I had to go for a Fire Punch, and it doesn't quite get the KO there. It's a CMP tie, and my Pidgeot is so low that they're going to be able to fully lock on, farm me down, and unfortunately we do lose that game. So GG's to the opponent there. Apparently we've got a very horrible record up against Registeel in the Catch Cup, which is unfortunate considering I am running 2 Pokemon that should very easily beat Registeel, so not great, but I've just not played well in those battles. But either way, once again, I do actually go for a bait this time around here, but once again, just going to let the Groudon go down, going to come in with my Pidgeot, and at this point we have realised we're going to lose CMP, so I'm just not going to throw straight away. Instead, going to shield the Icy Wind, going to go for a big over farm here, farming 2 back-to-back Aerial Aces, and that way, even if they did shield one of them, I could throw the next one just before I make it to the next Icy Wind. But the opponent going to come in with a Galarian Stunfisk. I'm going straight for the Brave Bird, and then I'm going to swap here just before they make it to the charge move to get a full Incinerate in for free, and then hopefully Darmanitan can beat whatever's in the back, but unfortunately it's going to be a Gligar. So we're full sending the overheat. We need the opponent to no shield, but they use their final shield here, and we do have a little bit of residual energy here. Can Pidgeot take out the Gligar and the Galarian Stunfisk in the back? Unfortunately, just barely not able to make it to the charge move there. If we made it to a Brave Bird, honestly, I think with the Incinerate that landed on the Galarian Stunfisk, maybe we could have taken out the Stunfisk with an Aerial Ace, but unfortunately we do get outpaced. But GG's to the opponent there. Into next battle, we see another Galarian Stunfisk, this time in the lead, and this time I'm just going to go straight for the Precipice Blades here. No point baiting. Precipice Blades gets the one shot, but they come in with a Alomomola, and you can see obviously my team is double weak to water. Didn't expect to see many Pokemon running water as a fast move, so I thought it might be fairly decent as well. I don't have many options for this cup anyways, but unfortunately Alomomola, one of the worst things we could see. It's also incredibly bulky, so I'm going to go for a bait here, but the opponent is actually going to no shield that. So not ideal, but we can very drastically outpace them. I did use Alomomola fairly recently. I know it is very clunky. It takes ages to get to those charge moves. We go for a third Aerial Ace, grabbing both shields from the Alomomola. Look like they were trying to commit to a full farm down, but they're not going to get there in time. They go for a Psychic. We're going to come in with our Darmanitan, and I need to go for a full farm down here. You can see they are in the green health range, so this is going to be close. Can we KO with one more Incinerate? We barely get that KO. We come out with a charge move loaded. This is resisted damage, but once again Overheat gets the KO, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to the opponent there. Into next battle, we see Groudon into a Shadow for Alligator. So I've just mentioned we are double weak to water. We haven't seen too many water types actually, which is quite good. and the ones we have seen have been like Mantine, where they're not actually using any water type damage, but of course Mantine's still a bit of a core breaker to the team. But either way, I'm just going to farm 2 back-to-back fire punches. First one grabs a shield, we're only going to make it to another fire punch. I choose to throw on CMP anyways. I'm going to sacrifice this Groudon, and the opponent actually double shields, which is very nice for me. At this point, going to let the Hydro Cannon take us out there. We can now come in with the Pidgeot. I assume since we lose CMP up against a Poliwrath, we're definitely going to lose up against a Feraligatr. So I'm just going to no-shield. The opponent swaps into Registeel, but unfortunately, even being just 2 turns ahead, they will outpace me to a Charge Move. But this time with the Incinerate damage, we have at least put them into range where I can get rid of the Registeel with my Pidgeot. So we go for a Brave Bird here. Brave Bird doesn't quite get the knockout. I will have to throw another Charge Move. We go for 2 Wing Attacks, maximizing the energy before we have to throw a Charge Move there. They come back in with Feraligatr. I knew they had just thrown their Charge Move, so I go for 4 Wing Attacks. I go for the Aerial Ace. Can we beat whatever's in the back? And unfortunately, it's going to be a Gligar, and once again, we're just 1 Wing Attack away from making it to a Brave Bird. Honestly, not certain Brave Bird would get the 1 shot anyways, but it was a very close game. And still, I'm not able to beat a Registeel team. Not ideal, but anyways, into the next battle. We're going to see a Serperior in the lead. We safe swap into Darmanitan. The opponent doesn't have the best response here as they come in with a Pidgeot. They are going to shield the first Charge Move, and at this point, I'm actually going to shield. I realize even if they fail the Dance Push, they will. I'm still going to be able to make it to another Charge Move, and this is going to get them incredibly low, to the point where I might even be able to farm them down with my Groudon. Now, I'm fully expecting the opponent to just go straight for a Brave Bird here, so I could sacrifice the Groudon, but we've seen several times already, saving a shield for my Pidgeot and then just having a Registeel in the back hasn't really worked out for me, so instead we use our shield, and the opponent comes back in with Serperior, so that's absolutely fine with me. The opponent gonna go for a Leaf Tornado. They don't get the debuff, which is very nice. Now I can just go straight for an Aerial Ace. We have overfarmed slightly, and Aerial Ace will get the KO, and let's see what that final Pokemon is. It's gonna be a Talonflame, and at this point we can just barely outpace them to the Brave Bird, and of course from a Shadow Pidgeot up against Talonflame, it takes out the Talonflame. We get the Wing Attack farm down, and I'm able to take that game. So that's going to be it for today's video. If you did enjoy it, please make sure you leave a like, leave a comment letting me know, and as well, don't forget to respond to the question of the day if you haven't done so already. And if you want to see more content like this in the future, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on post notifications. That way you'll be notified whenever I upload a new video. And if you want to take your support even further, you can now become a channel member with perks including early access to new videos, shoutouts at the end of each video, custom loyalty badges, and custom emojis to use in the comments. I want to say a massive thank you to everyone that has already become a channel member. Your support is greatly appreciated, and with that being said, thank you all so much for watching today's video, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.